All right. Anyways, I drink my orange juice. Um, I have not made a trade recap in way too long. I need to get back into making these. Caught a great long today. It is Tuesday, and we didn't really have any important news for the day. It was yellow folder, but we were able to catch this trade. And on this one, I took around a $300 loss, and then on this one, it was a $1,800 win. So let's get into the recap. All right, here's a P&L. This is on my 5 combines, which I did just pass today. That is why I targeted all the way up here instead of something lower like this high. But we were able to pass these accounts today, and now we're going to be able to have 5 more express accounts again that I just cycled through my last ones. So now we got 5 new ones and can continue on. All right, so going into the day, I had a bullish bias. We are currently in this very strong uptrend, and anytime we have a pullback, we just continue to push right back on up higher. If we're going a higher time frame, we can see we already retraced down deep into this strong extension here, and we pushed higher. So all I wanted to see was us pull back down somewhere into this range here, and then continue pushing us higher up towards this high again. Very bullish, so I was looking for longs all day. And all I wanted to see before taking longs was some sort of gap or liquidity sweep or rejection block, something like that, to take my entry on. Now, the first trade that I took, that was a loss. I had this 1 hour rejection block to the left of us. And I'll show you guys why I took this. It respected very, very nicely at first. So if we mark out this here and we have the halfway point marked out, we can see this dumped perfectly down into halfway of this rejection block. As soon as we tapped into halfway of this, we respected and it pushed us higher. After I saw that, I simply just wanted to wait for a retracement, because once we respect something like this and I see strong buying, I obviously want to look for longs. And on the order flow here, we can see this was at like 940 here. So if we go to 940, that was right here after. So right here, we had us tapping into this at 938. And here at 938, we can see we had a bunch of strong volume and selling. Now, just because there's a bunch of strong selling, this does not necessarily mean that we're just going to continue dumping. This is just a sign that we have a lot of liquidity and volume in the market. So whenever I see something like this, I don't necessarily see it as, okay, we're just going to continue dumping. I see this as there is a bunch of volume in the market that we can now use to push us higher. If we have all this selling and we still wick up like this is showing that we have a bunch of strong buyers absorbing the selling. So when we come up and then come back down, this is where we tap into the rejection block right here on these 2 candles. We can see we had a bunch of volume and we wicked up. And we had a bunch of strong selling that was just getting bought up. This was my confirmation to look for a trade. So all I did was, after this, right here, we formed a small gap that I just wanted to see retracement into to enter on. And we did. We tapped into this gap here. We wicked right out. That gives me my confirmation to take an entry. And I had my stop loss right under this wick. Got to keep it tight. And then I had my take profit up into this gap here. Now, why I was targeting this gap for the day is because this happened right off of market open. As soon as market open, we just dump. Now, anytime we have a big gap like this, the market is very, very likely to pull back into it to fill in some of these orders. Because when we drop this quick, there are orders in here that never had the chance to be filled because it dropped way too quick. So this is simply just a good target for me. And I was not very sure about us coming up to take any of these highs out. I just simply knew that I could see retracement or something inside of this gap here. That was the first trade. Oh well, you get stopped out, you move on. I still wanted to look for longs, but instead of this rejection block here, I wanted to then wait for us to take out this low. So if the rejection block isn't going to hold, I just want to see price come down lower and have us sweep out this low here. So right here is where we swept out this low at 946, and we can see we just chopped around inside of here. Now, after taking out this low, we can see that we had a very, very big wick here. Now, this wick is obviously just a rejection block. What that necessarily is it's just, if you think of this candle, the basic price action of it, if we have a very strong push down and we're now entering a new area, and then we reject that area and just push right back on up, that is showing us that we came down and filled in a bunch of orders here, which is now pushing us straight back up. That is what the big wick is showing, that we came down, there was trading happening in this area here, and there's obviously a lot of buying here, which is what pushed us right back up. This is an area where we can expect to have a lot of orders. We know that this can be an area we can look for entries because there's a bunch of trading going on in this area. So I marked out these wicks here and I use them for entries because you can get very, very strong entries with a very, very tight stop loss. If you wanted to snipe the halfway point, the midway point of this, which you could have, that would have been a 12-point stop loss. And you are targeting this high at the least. 9 risk to reward trade, just like that. My entry was not there because I was waiting and trying to be more patient because I'm trying to take a really good trade before I just hop into a trade on these evaluations just so I could pass them, because you have a daily loss limit on these accounts and you have a drawdown, so you don't want to go hopping into it just to blow your accounts by taking a bad trade. So have this rejection block here, we come into it, we respect it, and we push higher. Here could have been your entry. You could put your stop loss here. This was a 36-point stop loss. I was not willing to take that. Then right here, this would have been a perfect entry because we came right back down halfway into this, which is usually an area that we can see it respecting. Whenever it comes to fair value gaps, whenever it comes to rejection blocks, whatever it may be, the midway point is a great place to look for reactions. Came halfway into this, closed very strongly bearish into it, and then we had a very strong bullish close. Now you could enter as soon as that closes, put your stop loss under here, or put your stop loss underneath this. Either way, that would have been a great entry. I simply waited, and we had a pullback right here. Once this candle gave us a pullback into this area here, I just took my entry and I put my stop loss at this low here. Then obviously I'm targeting the same gap as before because I expect price to come up and fill this gap and fill in some orders. Took my entry, targeted up here, stop loss in here, went right on up to our take profit. We actually had a pretty perfect take profit. My take profit was basically just between here and the midway point, and also me securing a $1,500 day so that I could pass these accounts. That's basically how it was. I marked out here, this was just a 5-minute fair value gap that we came down, respected, and then pushed us higher. But pretty simple for the day. It's just looking at a higher time frame and seeing what we could react off of. And then once you have an area that you can expect a reversal or for something to happen, you wait for your rejection block, you confirm it with order flow, which I need to show you on this area here. Right here, 947, we came right on down with a bunch of strong volume, 3 million here. Bunch of strong selling, still wicked up, still continue to push higher. That was my confirmation that we have a bunch of volume happening in the market here, and we have a bunch of strong selling that is just being absorbed because we are not just completely dumping. So that was just my confirmation for these trades. I just combine everything together. You get your bias, you get your areas where you can expect reversal. You wait till you come down into that, and then you use order flow and rejection blocks for your entries, or you could even use fair value gaps, but I don't like the risk to reward when using those, so I try not to use them as much, but I will if I need to. And then also the Fibonacci tool is also what I use. I did not have a good area marked out today, but I will use my Fibonacci tool as well to find these areas to trade. But yeah, it's a recap for today. Hopefully that was simple enough, or at least made sense. And still have 3 days left of the week past these accounts, so see if we can rack up some nice winning days and take a payout here this week or next week. Yeah, I'll try getting these trade recaps out more. But peace.